Finance and Administrative meeting today, September 19th. Kim, are we in compliance with FOIA?
We are.
Move to adopt the agenda as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? Have a set of minutes in front of us from our August 15th meeting of 2023.
Move to adopt or to approve the minutes of August 15th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor? Next, we have appearance by citizens. If there's anyone that would like to approach this body today, now would be the time. Mr. Oakland, yes, sir.
Skip Hoagland, Windmill Harbor. In light of the Greenway scandal, Beaufort County Council is committed to forensic audits on all of Beaufort County offices. We need to keep pushing our Hilton Head Council, our mayor, who unfortunately lied, to compel more transparency from town, county managers, lawyers, and CPAs, and to conduct forensic audits on all budgets and internally hired cookie cutter audits that show only the numbers that dishonest insiders want us to see. Only a forensic audit will identify waste and crimes such as embezzlement, paybacks, kickoffs, graft, etc. Must require this council employees who just issue millions of our hard-earned tax dollars with no accounting to comply to all state and federal laws and stop all votes for council members in Beaufort County, including Bluffton and Hilton Head, who must know by now their vote is for the illegal issue and use of millions of tax monies. And if they approve them anyway, they need to be exposed, and they just simply voted out of office. You have to ask yourself, why would anyone, an elected official especially, violate those who trusted them, and worse, violate their own oath and campaign promise to serve honestly and approve and spend and guard tax monies like our own funds? Why would you do that? We have many forensic audits that need to be done. My priorities are focused on the largest amounts we already know about. And once audits are completed, we'll know even more about the rampant waste and the wrongdoing and crimes. No institution has ever escaped wrongdoing once they've been fully audited, and why would any council oppose this to clean the slate? To begin with, the school district, the treasurer, the auditor's office, and that's prior to David Cadd's honest leadership, tens of millions of hospitality tax funds, including A-Tax, that was used by the chamber. And even in past, Steve Riley was a law firm, Burr Farm and Law Firm. And Burr Law Firm also does all the bonds for the school district. They've even pitched a bond for Hilton Head that I just shook my head on, and I think you were present for that. So we need to, actually, Burr Foreman needs to be investigated by the FBI. That's how bad Burr Foreman Law Firm is and how tangled they are. They do 42 school districts in the state. So tens of millions of hospitality funds have also illegally used to issue to many nonprofits that we've already identified. And even those legally funded must fully report their use under the law for every dollar issued. The illegal nonprofits like the chambers and the CVBs and DMOs must be terminated immediately, undergo forensic audits to see how much damage and illegal use was actually caused by them. And every legal nonprofit that's issued tax funds must sign a tax recipient contractor agreement and how these funds must be legally used and reported. And the lawyers need to draft these contracts. I can draft the contracts. I'm not even a lawyer. I can do it. I'll do it for free.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we will move on to our new business. We'll have Mr. Troyer present to us item that we will need to take action on here today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have with me our Revenue Services Manager who would like to share a few words with you. And we're certainly available for any questions.
John, you're already bailing out on us?
I hope not. Good afternoon. I'm April Akins, the Revenue Services Manager here at the town. And I'm here today to talk to you about some upcoming changes to our business license tax code that is required by state law and more specific to our business license class schedule changes. I wanted to go over those changes, how they impact the town and also our business community. just to provide a bit of background and to refresh our memory, back in September of 2020, South Carolina General Assembly passed Act 176, which is the Business License Standardization Act. The law required every local government levying a business license tax, to administer the tax in the same way across the state, effective January 1 of 2022. As a result, MASC created and developed the Business License Model Ordinance for every local government to adopt to ensure compliance with the state regulations. Town Council then adopted the new Business License Model Ordinance in September of 2021, and now currently administers the business license tax according to that standardized state law and model ordinance. I have provided a brief summary from 2021 that highlights the elements of the law that actually are impacted with the new changes coming up. So Act 176 required the town to adopt the standardized business license class schedule, and that did happen through our business license model ordinance. The town then had to reclassify all the businesses according to that class schedule for the 2022 business license tax year. At that time, the town completed a business license tax data analysis and rate study in 2021 based on those changes. And that study revealed that the required reclassifications caused a shortfall of business license tax revenue of almost $340,000. As a result, Town Council agreed and voted to pass the increase of 7.2% across the board to all businesses for the business license tax increase to offset the shortfall and achieve a revenue neutral result that was required by the law. And now in 2023, we've got Act 176 that requires the town to adopt through an ordinance the latest standardized business license class schedules as recommended by MASC and adopted by the Director of Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office, and that does happen every odd year. MASC determines and revises that standardized business license class schedule every even year using the latest available nationwide IRS statistics. MASC then uses a 3-year average of the IRS profitability statistics to determine the class schedule changes. And in this case, I'd like to point out the years that were used to average were 2017, 2018, and 2019, so it was before the pandemic. The goal of this new process is to stabilize and limit large fluctuations in the business classes and our tax revenue. We did complete a business license rate study based on the changes. MASC published their latest standardized business class schedule at the end of June of this year. And then the town completed a detailed rate study analysis on approximately 14,000 business license accounts in July of this year to determine the impact of the class schedule changes to the town and of course to our business community. Just to give you an idea, there are 19 industry sectors in the class schedule. 9 industries will be impacted by the class schedule changes in the 2024 business license tax year. 7 industries will have a tax rate reduction, and 2 industries will have a tax rate increase. Overall, that did impact 15.8% of our businesses across the new changes with the business class schedule. By applying the new class schedules, I'm happy to report our rate study results are definitely favorable compared to 2021. And our revenue loss is close to $33,000 or less than 1% of our total business license tax revenue. I did include a slide of our detailed rate study so that you could see where it's impacting our businesses. This particular slide, the green areas, the green highlighted areas, are those sectors or industries that were impacted from the rate changes. So if you look down at the bottom where it says the total, where it says $6.314 million, that is the actual business license tax revenue that was collected with all of the 14,000 businesses for fiscal year '23. And then when we make the class schedule change, we analyzed what that would be for the new business revenue, and that would drop just a small bit to $6.281 million. So that is where the almost the $33,000 loss happens in those 9 sectors. And just to, not to point anyone out or to pick on anyone, but there are some large fluctuations I wanted to address. So for instance, the sector 722, which is our food service and drinking places, that includes caterers, our restaurants, mobile food units, and those types of businesses. There was a increase of 24% in their tax rate. I was very curious. I went back to 2021 just to see what happened then, and they actually received it was a 56% discount, if you will, reduced in rate. So it just shows the fluctuation of what happens in their industry with their income. Another one I'd like to point out is the sector 56, which is our admin and support and waste management. Those are more of our, what I would consider our hospitality service industry, landscapers, housekeepers, and those sorts of, waste haulers and things of that nature. So in this instance, they're getting a 14% rate change, correct? But previously, they had almost a 50% change. So it just fluctuates so much within the industries. And again, the IRS statistics are pulled using their profitability and a 3-year average to determine where we should change our schedule of classes to hopefully eliminate a large fluctuation with the taxes and the revenue. So I am happy I was very happy when I saw it was less than 1% of our revenue being impacted. We do have a few recommendations today. The staff please recommends to adopt the standardized business license class schedule as required by state law. We also are recommending to maintain the current business license tax rates as they are with no adjustments. And finally, we request that the Finance and Administrative Committee recommend to Town Council to amend the current business license ordinance to update the business license class schedule as required by Act 176. If you agree to that, I've included a timeline of events. We've got again, a short period of time to make these changes. So of course, today I've presented information to you. We're proposing that October 3rd would be the first reading of the ordinance by Town Council, and October 17th, the second and final reading of the ordinance by Town Council, giving staff some time to prepare for these changes. So in November, we will work with our software vendor to update our software system, make sure the new class schedules are in place to be there and prepared for the 2024 business license renewal period. December, we work through the processing of our business license renewals, and that includes printing and mailing out the renewals to the businesses. And of course, January 1, 2024, the new business license class schedules will be implemented as required by law. And that concludes my information today. If you want to ask any questions or have any comments, we can discuss it.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Higgins, do I understand correctly that the state law is the moving force in terms of what class each of these industries is in?
Yes, sir.
And that the various pluses and minuses that showed on the schedule are essentially the result of the state law, and that the town can change the rate that applies to every business, but not just one?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I want to make sure that I understood that last point. When you said not just one individual or one class?
Class.
Okay. Yeah, right. I'm fascinated by the fluctuations that you refer to. I'm trying to get a handle on that. does any one year suggest to staff that we should be making adjustments? Or do you have enough sort of historical timeline to be able to say the fluctuations, excess and decreases are predictable enough to keep the rate where they are today?
Yes, I feel very confident with that. We have a lot of historical data that we review. We obviously are monitoring that for budgetary reasons. But it's very common for our businesses to fluctuate based on what's happening in our economy. And everything that came out of the rate study was, I mean, it's very stable. I know it kind of looks unstable, but overall, it was less than 16% of our businesses. So I feel very good about that.
Out of curiosity, if you took a 10-year historical look, how much fluctuation over the mean or the average do you think you'd get, pluses and minuses? I'm anticipating that your answer will be not a lot, but I'm just curious.
Overall, correct, it would not be a lot. Individually, there could be some fluctuations that you can see down at the detail level.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. So my question is around how MASC gets here. Okay. So as I understand it, 2024 will be a year of review to make changes again in 2025, which is an odd year, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And I appreciate that they have made the decision to look back at 2019 versus using, I'm gonna describe them as the super years
Right.
of the pandemic. So do we have any influence as to what their look back is from a municipality standpoint?
no, I'd have to look into that. I'm not sure, I'm not positive if the 3-year average, I don't believe that's part of the state law. I think that is a practice. So if it were just a practice, then yes, we would definitely have some influence there.
So the reason I'm
I-
asking the question, because I think you're right, if you look at a 10-year period, you're probably going to see very little change, but as you look at what has happened in the last 4 years,
Yes.
with the super years included, if they're only going to look back at those super years and, us not really taking in consideration the new market, so to speak,
Right.
things could get out of whack in the future, so,
Yeah, and I can certainly speak with MASC about the feedback I'm getting today, because I have the same concerns as we were working through the study. Obviously, the next 3 years would be through a pandemic time, unprecedented. So to me, it would seem fair to maybe spread that out a little more, yeah.
Under there. Sure, go ahead. April, presumably you'll be making a similar presentation to town council if this committee moves it forward. When I see a negative number, $32,000, a political flag goes up saying, wait a second, somebody's going to look at that and say, hey, you got a problem here. So it might be good to have maybe 5 years of numbers or something that shows what is maybe normal.
Okay, thank you.
okay. All right. Any public comment? Yes, sir.
I know very little about.
Come on up, please, Mr. Hoagland, so we can make sure we got you on record.
All right, well, I was trying to keep my earplug in, but that's okay. All right, so I know very little about this subject, and but I do have a couple of questions. They might not be great questions, maybe they are. Why is accommodations down 31%? Is that what I showed, 31% down for accommodations?
That's the industry called accommodations, and that is the hotels and those types of businesses.
For business licenses, and it's down
Correct.
31%. Does that mean I'm not so sure I
No, that's okay.
understand that. And then while she's finding that, the other question I have was internet technology, home-based businesses, home-based big corporations, satellite offices. I don't know where that would come in, or if there's even any way to even control that. And then the other question I have was, why would fishing and hunting go from class 2 to class 1? So those were my three questions.
Okay, so the 31% that you're seeing, if you look at the line across, when we did the actual collection of revenue this year, it was 194,000 plus, right? And when we changed the class to the required class, it goes down to 132,000 and some change, right? So that difference is a 31% decrease in their taxes that we will collect.
They're being decreased from 22 to 23.
No, April, I think it'd be important for you to, maybe Mr. Holder didn't have his earpiece in when you started the conversation. Okay, so I think it's important for him to realize what we're doing here from the start as far as the change, okay?
Okay, so I know I started answering that question. Did you capture that, or do I need to go a little further? This is where we're doing a class change that we're required to do by law. And when you change classes, it changes the business license tax rate as well, which impacts revenue, right? So this is the rate study analysis of what we collected in their current class rate. And then when we have to change the class rate to the new one, what happens then? So that's where this analysis comes from, because there's only one way to compare apples to apples. We don't know what they're going to, we don't know what they're going to report to us in gross revenue. So we have to use the exact same numbers. And that's where the difference comes from.
April's available for anyone from the public after we get done here, Mr. Holder, to get into deeper details,
Very
okay?
exciting,
Yeah.
very exciting topic.
What I don't see, the other one is what business classes can you not collect from? I mean, like, I obviously listed some, there'd be no way to control home-based businesses. There'd be no way you could control, you could run a multi-million-dollar company out of your home today with technology and internet. So there's no way of collecting from that, as I guess, and if you identify those other areas that you could not collect from, there's just no way to control it.
So home occupations are classified by the industry standards here. So even if they're operating from their home, if they're an IT technology person, then they're going to fall into that sector, whether they're at home or a business.
The chances of you getting that is between 0 and 0.
Well,
okay.
that's my job. I'm always out there looking. If you know anyone, please tell me. I'm happy to go after them.
Lots of luck, okay?
Okay. Anyone else want to address the council on this particular topic? No? Okay, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. Any further discussion here?
I can make a motion then.
Sir?
I move that the F&A committee send on to council an ordinance amending the business license, update to class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
For the presentation and answering the questions. And, Troy, do we have anything else to cover today?
No, sir, we don't.
All right. Sounds good. We will find ourselves adjourned. Thank you to all.
Excellent job, John.